Hello, Outriders, it is Ebontis, and we are going to continue with the Technomancer. I've been grinding a decent amount of these expeditions, and as we're in the in-game, I still am using a very similar build. We've got some changes to it, some more for survival, and it's still not kind of perfected where I really want it to be, so again, the grind is still going. And I've been able to solo Challenge Tier 13, and actually I've gotten gold on a couple of these for the expeditions. So soloing Challenge Tier 13, you're fighting level 48 enemies, and I'm still able to get gold with this build. So let me show you guys the details of it, and maybe this will help you with your Technomancer builds. First thing I want to do is show you guys the skill tree. So for the skill tree, what we're going to be doing is more of a survival build and then lean into the damage later on. And this is, again, the balance of and this is where I'm trying to find which way I want to lean. I could probably go a little bit more damage, but then my survivability might go down a little bit. It really just kind of determines where you're at in gearing, if you need to go a little more survival versus a little more, damage, and you can just output the damage to make up the difference. So on this one, we've got weapon damage and decay skills cooldown 15%. Pretty straightforward, but we're going to kind of come down here and go a different direction. So go ahead, max health 10%, resistance 20%, max health 10%, armor 20%, max health 10%. This is going to make us survive a lot more. I really don't have an issue with survival at this point, so now is where I got to kind of figure out where I want to go for damage output. This is required for any Blighted rounds build, which I'll show you guys the stats. Every time Toxic is inflicted on an enemy, vulnerable status is inflicted. Basically, they take 30% more damage. And vulnerable is now 40% more effective, so 30% more damage. And then you multiply 30 times 1.4, they're doing that much more damage. So again, vulnerable is huge, and it's basically on every enemy because I'm using Blighted rounds the whole time. Now from here, I'm going straight up to this one. Your health regeneration threshold is increased by 20% of max health. What that is that little chunk of health on the bottom. And basically what that is if you're running around and not taking damage or hide for a second, you get some health back, it goes up to there. Then whatever healing effect you have for your class then goes from there. This one makes that a bigger chunk of health, so you have to say like 50% or so. And while this isn't bad, I haven't had as much issue with surviving, so what I theoretically could do is instead of getting armor, health, and this, I could lean a little bit more into damage, still getting, 20% health and some resistance. I could go crit damage, armor piercing, and toxic lasting longer, and then continue on my tree. I'm still trying to figure out back and forth, but there's both ways I could go. But once I get up here, we're going 8% weapon damage. Toxic does 10% more weapon damage. Another 8% weapon damage. Assault weapons are doing 20%, because I'm using a big machine gun. We've got assault weapon damage 12% increased, armor piercing 10%, long range damage 30%, magazine size 50%, which is really huge for Blighted rounds. Enemies afflicted with toxic receive 30% more damage, so this stacks on top. And then this one is activate decay skills, which is the Blighted turret. You increases weapon damage for you and your allies by 40% for 10 seconds. Now, you're like, really? It doesn't really work well, but the Blighted turret is where this really comes into play. So if you come over to skills, Blighted turret is up every 6.2 seconds. I can throw that turret every 6.2 seconds. So it's up all the time. And there's even some better mods that I could use later on, but for now, this is what I've got unlocked. Blighted rounds are still doing most of the damage, basically. You turn it on, and with the rounds that I've got, it never comes off. Fixing wave is more still for survival. I've seen some cold snap builds, and that's a build that I do kind of want to try out once I get more pieces of armor that makes that a really cool build. It's still nice to get a chunk of health back, though, and that is one of those places where a healing received actually can benefit you. This is one of those few places. Gives you 33% of your health, but it also makes your turrets last longer as well. So if you're running around, maybe you got a turret that's getting some work, you're going to help that one last a little longer before you throw the next one. Pretty straightforward here. For inventory, go down armor first. Blighted turret now freezes instead of toxic. This is huge, because for one, the Blighted turret has a bigger range than I ever thought it would. Mitigation from death. Killing enemies while aimed down sights. I pretty much live that way. Grants 36,000 armor. And again, things like this where you see mitigation from death, 36,000 armor points. It's 36,000 because the piece of gear is level 48. If this was, say, level 45, it would probably be closer to, say, 30,000 or 28,000. So some of these numbers on mods scale up depending on the level of the piece of armor they're on. So keep that in mind. Something may not do as much on a low piece of armor, but if you slap that on a piece of armor that's like 5 levels higher, you're going to get more benefit out of it. Blighted rounds increase critical damage by 30%. It's huge. Crits are just massive in this build. Now here's another one. So already here, you've got 36,000 damage when you kill an enemy aim down sights, lasts for 10 seconds, and it stacks up to 3 times. So basically I'm getting 100,000 armor sitting on me most of the time. So that's 100,000 bonus on top of my 92k that I've already got. I'm pretty resilient. On top of that, we've got down here Damage Absorber. Increase your armor by 37,000 and your resistance by 10%. Again, this is more of a survival build. At some point I could swap some of these things out to get a little bit more damage once I feel I'm able to survive what I'm fighting. Right now, just trying to stay alive. Blighted rounds, it gives me 1 additional magazine, and I'll show you why that's important. But basically, if you ever have to reload, run out of magazine, dump it damage into a boss, you get that second mag, which is crucial because sometimes it really makes the fight manageable. Perseverance shield, if you drop to 30% of your health, you receive 6,300 points of shield. Trust me, this sometimes saves my butt. It doesn't always do it, but you know, anytime it gets low enough, it can happen every 5 seconds. It's not a bad thing to have. And again, this is another one when it comes to survival. I could swap this out for more damage if I feel comfortable at this level. So as I said, this isn't a perfected build, but it's one that tends to work for what I'm working on. This is a really crucial pair of mods. Toxic Leg, killing enemies with Toxic will instantly replenish 40% of the ammo in your magazine. And then also we've got Radical Therapy, dealing 15% more damage to enemies afflicted by Toxic. So if I kill an enemy, I get 40% back in the mag. I've got 150 in the mag with 100 plus the 50% skill tree node. And then this one I'm getting 40% back. So I'm getting a lot of chunks of ammo as long as I'm getting kills. There's one piece about my gun that makes this a little iffy sometimes, but I'll explain that in a second. And then finally down here, Blighted Turret, I increase the duration. And really all I'm waiting for here, again, is another piece of gear that I can swap that out, because the turret, I can throw it every 6 seconds, so I don't really need to increase the duration. I just don't have another option right now. And this does actually have max health, long range damage, and skill life leech, and boost your damage against enemies afflicted with freeze. So I could still have a better build when it comes to some of these pieces, but this is still working at this level, so I'm kind of rolling with what I got. And this is my weapon. This is the main boy doing all the work, and it's still not exactly where I'd like it to be. So this is the Damascus offering. It is a standard light machine gun, 100 bullet clip size. It's up to level 49 because once you beat 13, you can equip gear that is 49. Therefore, you can level stuff up to 49. It is expensive to level something up from 48 to 49, but it's worth it if it's the main weapon you're using, which you'll see I am. Claymore Torrent. This one's not bad, but there's still a couple mods like this that are better. Shots damage enemies, damage 4 enemies within a 6-meter radius. With anomaly blades dealing 80,000 damage. Happens every 4 seconds. So groups of ads that I'm shooting get this 80,000 chunk taken off of them. It's not bad. It does a chunk of damage, and I'll show you guys in the end. There are just some things that could be better. There's only so many, like, you know, beast light machine guns in the first place, but this one's not too shabby. Death Chains is a lot better, honestly, than I thought it would. Shout out to my buddy Doldris. He kind of swapped some stuff out and figured out this thing was doing massive amounts of damage, so it's actually really powerful. Shots entangle enemies with chains, dealing 156,000 damage over 3 seconds. Basically 50k a second. You can proc it every 2 seconds. Now, the only problem is if the death chains proc and, you know, the tick damage kills the enemy, unfortunately, I don't get my ammo back. So that is kind of a drawback. What I would like to use, there's one that, like, brings lightning down on a single enemy. I'd like to swap that out for death chains so I can still get my ammo back on a more consistent basis. So overall, basically what I'm saying is this is a pretty stout build, but it is still not perfect min-maxed. It's still got some work to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into, basically we've got some options. I'm going to pick one that I know at least fairly well, which is Chem Plant. We're going to do this at tier 13. And I'm going to see if I can get gold with you guys. And then at the end, I'll show you guys a couple stats. So at this point, we're going to go into the gameplay. Chem Plant, tier 13. We're going to see if we can get gold. So wish me luck, and here we go. All right, so I've run this plenty of times. I know what to expect. It's honestly just putting out the damage fast enough. If I get silver, that's okay. I still want you guys to see what soloing a tier 13 with this build looks like. Where I was like, see if my health is an issue very often. If I could lean more into damage, we'll see how it goes. Wish me luck. That shotgun's going to be on my back for the entire time I'm in here. Never going to move it. The blighted rounds, you can start it out. I'm going to throw my turret all the time to get that 40% extra damage. As soon as it's out, take out the marksman up there. And now I'm just going to start pumping the damage. You're going to have a lot of ads out here. You can see I'm doing a good chunk of damage. Still got one guy straggling here. And that's where the chains can sometimes honestly take my free bullets. And this is also one of those situations where I need to kill some other ads to get some ammo back. You can also see the amount of damage I'm putting into a big level ad. I'm still able to kill him pretty quick. Marksman lines, you definitely want to watch out for those. I've only got 19 bullets left in my magazine right now. I really need to find some low-level ads to kill. Pretty troubling right now, actually. So there's 68. So again, I went from like 19 to 68. There's a marksman back there. I'll go a little slower, try and get some kills with just the bullets. There we go, back up to 150k. If you ever get overrun, you got your... And then now, time to run. Now what I should be doing is throwing my turret more often so I get more bonus damage, which I'm not doing and should be. Those crits, 40% more damage. Those crits get to be substantially higher. And once you've killed most of the ads here, then you're going to get the next set of ads to spawn that come behind that door. And once the ads start going, you'll see everything should be good. That actually happened a lot faster than I thought it would, so that was not too shabby. Every time you hit a switch, you're going to reset your blighted rounds, which is a good thing, and that's why that extra magazine, if you use it just every so often and you know you got a switch coming, you're okay. But again, you got a lot of ads over here that I can pop damage on. Chains is not bad, but you also got to watch the procs on the ground. You're also going to see some ads coming up over here to the left. But again, the chains happens only every few seconds. That's why you also got to be careful where these guys are coming from. And again, I can hold, but if I get a few more procs, it tends to work a little bit better. See, this captain takes chunks of damage. As long as I kill him with a decent bullet, we're good to go. So again, trying to manage health right now. Trying to get the... Oh, and he got a shield, and I'm down to 8 bullets. This is trouble. I gotta reload. That's one of my 2 magazines, so I really gotta be cautious here. But again, if I'm really, like, careful with my aiming, I can pump out a lot of damage on one guy. Now, when more ads start coming, you can definitely start pumping out the damage. If you gotta heal, that's fixing wave, just for those few moments where you gotta save your butt. Not too bad overall. So we got this guy down here, ironclad. He's gonna take some damage. What I'm actually going to do is try and put some damage into some of these guys out here. And then, depending if I can get another blighted turret on him. Not sure where he's headed. You see the chains? They'll actually sit there and tick 50k, and he's got armor resistance on, so he's not taking the full damage. But again, the amount of damage you can put out with this build is just absolutely bonkers. And then it's just a decision of how much more do I want to put out when I have the right mods on. It's still literally not perfected. That's the sad part. I'm doing all this, and it's still not perfect. And again, you have those moments where every so often it's a bit spicy. I gotta watch my ammo here. Now I gotta kill some of these lower level guys. Probably could use to do that. And it's literally those death chains that are getting the kill, which is almost screwing me up some. But if you get a couple groups of ads together, a couple little guys that you can kill, a couple guys together just makes this all manageable. Ow. And snipers still are awful, just to let you know, in case that wasn't clear. Snipers still suck. They will still kick your butt. Now this, unfortunately, is a great ad time. Fire tornadoes are evil. I got 111 bullets. Now I gotta pull back a little bit. Fire tornadoes are just evil, so you're gonna have to kite that thing around a little bit. Depending on where all the ads are, you might have to go vertical as well. So again, this is where damage versus, you know, mitigation. I can pump some damage out when I need to, but I've also got to make sure I'm not going to get myself killed. So it may not be the fastest run. I may not get gold. I think I got silver last time I did this, but still, the amount of damage that I can put out is actually pretty crazy. And I'm able to survive a lot of stuff as well. So the fact that I can survive all of this and still kill a lot of things, pretty beneficial. Fire Tornado, still evil. Now the Vanguard captains do suck, 100%. It's just like an explosion bomb there. And again, this is where you start to burn through ammo, is when you're working on big boss guys. And this is where the single shots can be beneficial to help save your ammo a little bit, until he just feels like nuking my butt. And that's where that shield, you can actually see it on me right now, and also that health regeneration threshold a little bit higher, kind of got me a little more health back as I ran. Perfect, getting to kill that guy, got some ammo to work with now. And another fire tornado. That's just awful. This guy's gonna... The only problem with this build is you do not have an interrupt skill. So if an enemy's casting an ability, you pretty much just get to eat it. Kind of unfortunate. I can put out a lot of damage, which is good. That's not a bad thing. But it's just surviving some of these moments when you're like, oh, I wish this thing was something I could interrupt. You literally can't interrupt on this build. And it's just one of the downfalls of it. Not really sure how that thing's still up. He's almost dead. He's almost dead. Just melting pure damage right now. Not even caring too much about... There we go. So far, not bad. Not my fastest by any stretch of the imagination. At 13, these guys have chunks of health, as you guys can see. Overall, just some of the rooms I gotta play a little bit more cautious, just because, one, you're by yourself, and two, just that ammo is not always proccing, and that's one of those things where it puts out a lot of damage. Every so often, you also see that little singularity, which tends to ruin your day a little bit. So gotta pull back a little here. Gotta activate blighted rounds there. And again, this is more of like a safety. This room can get really spicy, so I go a bit more cautious than I probably need to, but it's also worth it. Like these captains, for example, get to really be painful. If you guys see the damage I'm putting out, those 49k, again, every 6 seconds I get bullets that work like that. And usually that much leech will keep me alive, but I also got to make sure I try and kill some random ads over here to get some health, and then I can keep pumping out the damage here. Just that slightly slower, not holding the trigger, as long as you can manage it, it works. Alright, so big guys are getting down. And now we can start pushing, but there's so many ads in this room, you really don't have to go that far to find enemies to shoot. I'll be honest, they're going to be everywhere for a while, and they come in multiple waves. So if I run out that direction, now you got to push up a little bit because you are pushing clock. But at some point you're going to have to try and find some of these guys. But as soon as you do push, you're also going to get more to spawn, which just happened. You can see a lot of them happen right up here. There's a group. So again, if you get chains on one, you got teams together, you can usually get enough ammo. You're also going to have a lot more ads over here that do spawn, so be careful of getting overrun. Yeah, this isn't overly, like, the most difficult one in the world, but it is definitely one where it's hard to push too much just because of some of the stuff that's going to be coming at you. But as you can tell, this build definitely can put in some work. Using your blighted turrets frequently. Watch the guys that are going to try and flank you out in the middle. There's guys going to be coming from pretty much everywhere. But if you throw the chains on a lot of enemies out there, they're going to take a good chunk of tick damage, and then you're still going to be able to survive most of what the world throws at you. I got to make sure I try and proc us. You know, a couple decent kills on these riflemen to get some ammo up. That's where I'll try and do a little slower clicks to get some health back. Or some ammo, I mean. There you go. Just a couple occasional, very deliberate clicks trying to get that. See, he died to the tick damage. That one won't give me ammo. That guy, same way. Got one behind me. Where you at? And again, I'm not even throwing my blighted turret probably as much as I should be. You're going to have more ads that come across. But again, when melee start pushing, it's a good time to start pumping some more damage out. Not too many left in here. We're getting close to moving on to phase 2 of this room, which is good. These guys are just being annoying. And that's the thing, the death chains actually kills them, as opposed to me doing it. If you use the switch, remember, you've reset your blighted rounds, also means you've got to cast it again.
More of them.
And this is why. This is going to be silver, probably, just by time-wise, but I want to show you guys in a little more cautious sake of how it works. Yeah, this will definitely be silver because I know how slow I'm going already. So, wish it was faster, but I also know it's not. I'm getting a little overrun, so you might have to pull back. And the guys you can consistently kill. And I've still got these three out here in the middle. Now I know I've got a couple magazines to try and kill these guys, so your big deal, remember, focus fire. Kill one guy before you try and spread the damage too much. When they just get shields, that's just fun. It's really hard to kill you when you got a shield up. He's dead, and he's dead. If I can get to the final room, it's usually not too bad. One thing to keep in mind when you go to this elevator, if you're running specifically this build, and you have something like blighted rounds up, don't touch this thing, because then you're going to reset your ability, because you don't have that much time to reset it. When you run outside, it does reset, but if you feel like using this area as cover, you won't get it till you run outside. What I am going to do is have that ready, just to spray at him. Run outside, it will reset your abilities, so then I can go ahead and switch it over. These guys, these bolt breachers are not too bad. And most things are freezing and dead. So again, I'm at 11 minutes. It's going to be tight if I can do this in time. Just sometimes this area takes a little bit longer than I'd like. So that's why I said, like, the damage that I'm outputting right now could probably be higher, because I really don't seem to be walking on the edge of death that often. There's a couple moments where it's a little spicy, but, you know, if I was pumping out enough damage, killing things faster, I could probably do it quicker. But I just wanted you guys to see what that's kind of like. Now we're going to have some monsters for a little bit. You're going to have another group that comes behind you. It's going to be all these little guys, so they're a good way to get your ammo back. If you got low, and then you always have these guys, which are always hiding. They're never aggressive enough in your face. Same thing coming to the other side of the room. Got a big guy here, so I'm going to try and focus this guy. If he gets frozen, he is your main focus. No question, not the other guys. Big boy's got to go first. If he gets focused up, he's going down. There we go. So now we can get some ammo back. These guys are the ones that literally kill me the most. The alphas that jump. Not even the biggest one, which I'll show you guys, is the boss. But these guys occasionally... Now, they used to. I had like half the health. But now as I'm in so much more of a survival build, they really don't take that long. This guy's apparently just hanging in the back. As you guys can see, now we're going to get human ads. These guys are not bad. A couple, 3 or 4. Breacher, and then a cremator. Cremator will hurt. You can focus on his tank on the back. Get some chunk damage out of him. You're going to get a guy charging your back. There's 2 sides these guys come from, so be careful. And you still got to go kill the other cremator. Again, as I said, 13 minutes, then it all just depends on how fast I can kill this damn boss. Still goes down pretty quick. I'm literally healing through. Here's the boss fight. I'm probably going to be about a minute short. That's the unfortunate part. I'm going to be close, but not quite. This is where I'm pretty sure a little extra damage would probably be better. But this gives you the idea, also a much more survivable build. Silver is still a damn good way to farm resources, so don't get me wrong. It's not a bad thing. And if he can get frozen, these guys have the weirdest crit spots in the world. And again, it's probably valuable to kill some of the ads so you're just not getting crazy overrun. And again, you're probably going to want to kite the boss a little bit. Kill some of these guys that are making you vulnerable. Kill the little guys. Again, the little guys in this build will help you with ammo, which is a benefit big time. So yeah, gold is going to be probably just a hair off, which is unfortunate. Wish I could have showed you guys gold, but I'd rather see you guys something that's like decent. He's about a third down, which isn't bad, but it just could be more. And I need to be throwing that Blighted turret more often because that'd be 40% more damage. And that's a huge slam. Another Blighted turret. Focus on him. If I can get him frozen, that's huge. His crit spot is very weird. He's almost down, too. See, we're just in silver territory, and I need to kill, like, 2 guys. That's it. So I was off by, like, less than 30 seconds to get gold. But that is solo. Challenge tier 13, Chem plant 1512. I think it was 1457 or something stupid like that. Literally like 15 seconds off. I still get 8,000 drop pod resources, and I get 3 chances at legendary loot. Now, will you get it every time? Absolutely not. I've had plenty of times to just get epics. But that's still a pretty damn good way to farm resources, which you're going to need a lot of. You're going to get a lot of gear to break down for titanium, which you need an infinite supply of. And let's see what we get live here on the video. And we got a legendary. Oh my god, I actually got a legendary assault rifle. Got a master tool, and I got it at level 48. That's not too shabby. You guys get to see it on screen. Well, I'm going to pick all this stuff up, and we're going to go back to the camp, and we'll wrap this thing up. So this is just a little bit of the stats so you guys can see what some of this looks like. So damage dealt, 101 million damage. Obviously, probably pretty insane. Accuracy is 47%. I could be a better shot. Enemies killed, 210. Critical hits, 600. Damage blocked. I'm pretty sure there's not like a tooltip for it, but I'm pretty sure that's like your armor mitigation. So again, this is a much more survivable build. Total damage I took, 610,000, so still a lot. Healing. Healing from weapon leech, healing from skill leech. Both of those are decent chunks, but that shield generated, I get like 6,700. It happened quite a few times that I got low, and that shield may have gotten me through that point. So again, this is where I'm tossing up the damage output versus survivability. Damage dealt, you guys can see the Blighted rounds got 43,000. Obviously, they do a lot. But look at these 2 mods. Claymore Torrent, 26 million. The Death Chains, 26 million. So while I'm doing 43 million here, these 2 mods on this gun are doing more than my Blighted rounds themselves do. The mods are doing more combined than Blighted rounds. So your mods are hugely crucial to what you do. Everything else is peanuts in comparison. And kills, just, you know, different things you killed. So that is basically it. Let's take a quick look, just since you guys will probably be curious what we got here. Killing shots, summon a bullet-stopping dome for 5 seconds. I'm sorry. That's going to be interesting. I have no idea how I'm going to use this later on, but this is quite a survivable build. So I think that's honestly probably going to be either bullet stopping dome, if that's going to be like the Trickster's dome. That's interesting. I will have to mess around with that one. Level that thing up. It's probably going to jump up pretty close to that damage. It is a sharpshooter variant, which is not my favorite type. I hate the single shots like that. I still might toy around with it because it's crit damage, status power, and skill life leech. Actually pretty good stats. I just wish I could change the variant. That's the only thing. Other than that, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I will be streaming the podcast, The Last Word. We've got that coming on Friday morning. It's going to be a morning show, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Just me and Cognito, just a good 2-man show. So thank you guys very much. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and that alert bell. You guys will know when new videos come from me. Cover a lot of Destiny and also splitting it with Outriders right now. I'm also on Twitter, and then I stream a lot on Twitch and also sometimes on YouTube. So follow me there. Thank you guys very much. If you enjoyed this one, drop a like, leave a comment, even if you just want to say hello or if you get thoughts about the builds as well. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.